Welcome to a virtual face-to-face with Dr. Bruce Jarrell. I'm Alex Lukowski, Executive Director of Media Relations. What time is it? Game time. If your blood runs purple like mine, you know who and what that means. And maybe you've heard him say something that really motivated you, like every day of your life will be a one-on-one battle. A one-on-one battle is with yourself. Or maybe you've heard what others say about him, like former Ravens quarterback Trent Dilfer. He has that personal touch. You trust everything about him, and he makes everybody better. It's possible you've been at the wrong end of him, of course, like guys like with names like Brady or Warner or Farr, and wound up on the ground wondering what happened. But of course, it's much more likely that you've been one of the thousands of Baltimoreans and people from all over the country who have been inspired, motivated, and helped by him through his charitable work, his Everyday Greatness podcast, Team No Excuses workout program, and so much more. But it's also possible at this time of sadness and rage and introspection about racism and injustice in America that you've pulled his 2016 best-selling memoir, I Feel Like Going On, off the bookshelf again for another read through his incredible journey to greatness, overcoming difficult challenges. So here today to talk about nurturing Baltimore's minds, bodies, and spirit is NFL Hall of Fame former Ravens linebacker and University of Maryland Baltimore Foundation board member, Ray Lewis. Welcome. This program is being recorded, I should tell you, and will be posted on our COVID-19 website, umaryland.edu/coronavirus. And if you want to ask a question, please use the chat function. That's the speech bubble at the bottom of the screen or in the upper right-hand corner on a cell phone. When it comes time to take questions, listen for your name and I will unmute your mic. All you have to do is speak up. If you're watching on Facebook Live, we'll try to relay some of those questions too. Now here's our host, UMB Interim President, Dr. Bruce Jarrell.
I'd like to start off with a somber note. Just yesterday, we hosted a town hall. We had over 800 people on the town hall, plus another several thousand in Facebook, and we talked about George Floyd and what people were feeling. There was a sense of frustration. There was a sense of fatigue. People felt that we're not making enough progress. And I think one of the questions I'd like to start off with, it is a somber note, is tell me how you're thinking about all of the events that have occurred related to Mr. Floyd and how you're thinking about that. Ray?
Yeah, I mean, personally, man, I've been in just heavy meditations and prayers and just, years ago, Bruce, something happened, in 1991 when I was a sophomore in high school and I saw the brutal beatings of Rodney King. And I remember asking my mother, why are we looked at differently? Like, Mama, explain that to me. And she said to me in a very nice way, she said, son, life ain't fair. And people see life differently. And I briefly spoke to the Floyd family a few days ago. And I told them that they're not alone. There are so many people across the world that's feeling so much pain and anger, just like I am. It's like people are just frustrated of injustice, of what's right. And the color of your skin should not define who you are or what you do in life. And so for me, I have, because of the way I've been raised and my mom, I've spent so much time with God just trying to ask God, what's the answer? What is the real answer? Like, how do you get to this place? And then you hear people tell people how to, deal with these issues. You can't tell people how to deal with these issues because this is a thing that people feel. You feel it. You feel it. And then if you're a Black man, you live it. You live it. And so I offer this advice to the world. Our only way out is love. But we have to strategically put together the right connections and hold people accountable for their actions. I'm telling you, this one here has bothered me from a different place. I've had sleepless nights because I think when you think about what's happening, it's the thing that I fear the most is our kids are experiencing something that even our parents can't explain it to them. You know, like my son, he called and texted me and he said, Dad, what's going on? And I said, son, it's praying time. Like we gotta pray now. And I think from my heart, I think if we get back to what I told George Floyd's family is God don't make mistakes. People have found their ways of doing what they want to do, and evil finds even the strongest. So for me, I've been dealing with this from so many angles because I've been so furious of just this vision of listening to George basically say that he couldn't breathe over 15, 16 times. And it's a personal thing for me. So it's not this thing that you can just come out and say. It's like this thing you got to feel. We have to feel again as people. We have to feel. We have to touch each other. We got to love each other again. We have to change our community so we understand one day what life is. Like life is about loving thy neighbors thyself and teaching us how to love. And even when you have horrific events like this, we gotta find a way to make sure that justice is not just for us. It's not just us. It's justice. And every one of those guys got to pay for this because it doesn't stop. It doesn't change, guys. If ladies, who's ever listening, if we don't change this, if we don't start here, then I don't know how we come together as a world. Everybody's divided. And the greatest form of hope we've ever been given as human beings is the ability to grab someone and say, I love you. It's to grab someone and share a moment to where the lights are dim in their eyes and you see the light come back on. When you see all the things that's going on around the world, this is probably the most challenging thing we've ever seen. And when I was a kid watching Rodney King, I thought that was bad, which was terrible. Then 2015, Freddie Gray. And now 2020, George Floyd. My only real question is, when does Black Lives Matter? It's time for us to matter because we're relevant, because we're a human being, and the color of our skins does not define who we are. And Bruce, that's where my time has been spent, like really asking God, how do we bring our people together? How do we make our world a better and safer place?
Ray, I think a lot of people out there love you right now for what you just finished saying. It's the best I could wish to you right this minute. Those are very touching comments, and we heard that yesterday as well. And I don't see the way forward. We need a lot of work and help and hand-holding to find our way forward. So thank you for those comments. In fact, the way we got hooked up with you originally, beside sitting on the foundation board, was to say, we want to impact young men in the West Baltimore community you've got some answers and secrets on how to do that. And we've had a start with our Cure Scholars and with our Community Engagement Center, which you came to at the groundbreaking, and thank you for that. So maybe telling the folks what the program that you have in place, the whole plan, and how we're going to move forward with those young Black men in West Baltimore.
Yeah, and not to ever correct Dr. Bruce Jarrell, but but I want to make sure, programs come and go. Like what I'm trying to give to people is a lifestyle. It's how you live every day of your life. People ask me all the time, why you train the way you train? You're retired. I said, I retired from football. I never retired from inspiring, right? So when you think about what they need to see, when I was growing up, because the issue is, let's stop. So many people are saying so many things, and they want to bring up this, that we're talking about one issue. We're talking about one issue. We're talking about cops killing Black men. Let's stay right there. Don't go away from that. Let's not create no more narratives. Let's face the facts of what we're dealing with. And so how do we deal with that? When I was growing up, we knew cops by their first names. Yes. Like they would stop on the curve. And can I be frankly honest? We knew the ones that was racist. We knew the ones to stay away from. We knew that, Bruce. And then when the ones that was for you, we knew that they would always tell you the right things. The cops who really loved you and really appreciated the community, they would tell you, get off this corner. This ain't a good corner for you to be on.
Wow.
They would dictate that. And when I was growing up, we had a rule. There was certain corners that was drug infested. In the early 90s, crack cocaine stormed my city. It stormed my city. And I saw 25 or more athletes give up Division I scholarships to go sell drugs. And the kids who figured it out, the cops used to ride by and say, your mama know you over here? Your mama don't know you on this side of town. Don't let me tell her. Right? So the communication, right? When you see disconnect happens from lack of communication. A village, if it says it takes a village to raise one child, if it takes a village to raise one child, then the village communicates. That's why if I done something bad, my next door neighbor beat my behind. After my next door neighbor beat my behind, when my parents got home, they beat my behind. Yes, because the community policed the communities. And we knew certain cops, they would never come through there. Oh man, it was certain cops that we knew, don't stay away from him. That ain't gonna end well. And so when you talk about what is it, I live a life of no excuses. I live a life that takes care of the mind, the body, and the spirit. I built the company that's based off 8 pillars of wellness, of understanding what life is all about. And if you don't understand what life is all about, then what happens in your community is you become disconnected from the community. Remember, in my community, I used to go around, I used to tell people all the time, no, I mowed that yard. Oh, trash in that yard, I'm gonna pick it up. Simple things. It don't have to be my yard for me to pick it up.
Right.
But when you think about West Side, when you think about what we have to introduce back to these guys, again, we got to reintroduce a relationship. Bruce, we got to take 10 to 15 of these guys of cops. You want all Black cops, do all Black cops. But I say you got to have some white cops, right? We got to live together. We got to figure out how to live together. You take 8 to 10 cops, you take 8 to 10 young kids that's in the streets, and you put them in the no excuse programs where they're working out together. There was a time when the Pal Center was around and people was doing the things that they was doing, Bruce. I had, still to this day, at the last No Excuses camp that was in Baltimore, I had people that was in gangs and drugs working out with cops. And nobody knew each other. All they knew was to push each other. So it's possible. It's very possible. And that's what I think me and my team, what we want to do is we're here for the solution. My company is built for the solution. The solution is there's no excuses that cops are killing black men. It's like it's a hobby. There's no freaking excuses. You can't do that. Because you break us. You physically break us. And that's why I haven't spoken. Because it's painful. It's not easy. It's not easy going through something in life and figuring out how to make it out. It's not easy making it in life when you're only looked at a certain way because of the color of your skin. It's not. I told you, Bruce, it's not easy when you walk in the neighborhoods that the black people got to walk in and you don't have a Whole Foods and you don't have the proper eating habits. It ain't easy and everybody don't make it out. So I got tired and I said, I don't want nobody to live like I live. I want somebody to live the way they're supposed to live. And that is give me an opportunity and let me choose if I want to use the opportunity or not, but don't take it away from me. That's why No Excuses came together and we put together a very strategic program that really tackles the underserved communities. Like they're not even served. In our communities, we got more gang infested. We're killing each other at an alarming rate. We have no foods at all that's healthy to eat or think about. And everything you walk down is broken down, burnt down. What do you ask us to do? And so we said, there's no excuses for us to not create something that helps from the ground roots of life, from the village perspective. How do you change this world? Each one, teach one. How do you change this world? You don't crucify a man for his perspective. You sit a man down and you ask him to explain to you, why is that your perspective? And then when you get to that point, then you start having conversations. That's why No Excuses says, everybody will tell you come in No Excuses. I don't care who you are, I don't care how old you are. When you come in No Excuses, Bruce, personally, I stopped cursing. Me and my trainer, Monty, I stopped cursing when I was 24, 25 years old. So when you come in No Excuses, guaranteed, when you walk in that environment, you ain't coming in there cursing. I don't need to hear none of that. Because see, and I always teach this, and this is the small, minute things about our company, right? Cursing, if you think about cursing, and I tell people this all the time, all you do is trade ignorance for wisdom. Because if you think enough, you'll come up with a great word.
Yes.
But it's easy to throw out a quick curse word, right? You're working hard. God, nah. But if you think about that breath and you keep that breath in, then guess what? There are no excuses to life. Me and my trainer started some years ago, and it hurt like hell. I'm telling you, it hurt, Bruce, and I'm telling you, that's why the question got to be, it ain't really how I feel, because you can never understand how I feel as a black man. The question is, Bruce, how do you feel when you see this?
Outraged. I wonder if that could be me, and why couldn't that be me? And you know the answer to that because my skin is a different color, and I understand that. But I have to learn. That's part of what I have to do, and that's what all of our people at UMB have to learn as well. How do we help this situation? How do we understand it? And then how do we move it forward? which is why I like your no excuses approach. I think it's a very effective approach. But outrage is my answer as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we had the town hall yesterday. That's why we're talking about this today.
Absolutely.
But my outrage is one, if I got to know how to let it out in the proper manner. What actions do I need to take? Because talk is cheap, rage is cheap, action is hard.
Totally.
So, which is why I'm so excited that you're with us and excited that we're talking about a joint project here together, because that
No,
gives me hope.
I'm so excited. And I'm really excited because there's a different levels of building the infrastructure of, you know, I was teaching us on my podcast, and this is how we're building Baltimore. This is how we're going to build Baltimore, right? You're going to build Baltimore from the base, just like everything. When you start to build buildings, you lay the foundation of cement to make sure what? It doesn't move.
Right.
Right?
That's
To make
right.
a hard wind come by, it's stand still.
Right.
And guess what? That's the base we got to put with our people. Right? And that base has to not only be faith, it has to be love, it has to be help, it has to be hope, it has to be togetherness, it has to be sacrifice. Honestly, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. Our communities and what we're dealing with, I don't need your money. I need your heart. I want people's hearts. What we're dealing with as a nation, people's hearts are broken. To build Baltimore, put the heart on the base. And right on top of that, for these cops, accountability. Because once you make your heart accountable, then if you make that mistake again, you know what happens next.
Right.
See? And that's where we got to start playing this game. We got to start playing this game. George Floyd, that's murder. Any way you want to look at it. Don't tell me nothing else. All four of y'all got to pay for that life. Y'all they send more black men to prisons for weed. They send us to prison for 15, 20 years. Man, it's so much in my head. There's so much in my head, but I need us to understand how we're going to build the foundation. And that's why when you start to go down how we go in and we change the infrastructure. And this is where no excuses become crucial, Bruce. And this is what we were talking about, is when you have heroes of the community. Right? I had a woman in my community named Miss Robinson. Miss Robinson was a 15-minute walk. But when you left Miss Robinson's house, Miss Robinson taught me not only my alphabet, but Miss Robinson taught me how to color. And I used to color, and I used to just color, just to scribble, just to try to get it all in. And she took me one day and she said, wait a minute, let me show you something. She said, color in one direction. And then go to the next side and color in one direction. So when we build our communities, we got to build with one direction. And that don't mean black or white. That mean right. That means right foods. That means somebody calling Whole Foods CEO and say, put a Whole Foods in black neighborhoods. Why don't we have options for great foods like that? Right. We got all of the fast foods, all of the liquor stores, and everything else broke down. Nah, that's not the foundation. And guarantee it's not a sustainable foundation. You can't sustain that. So guess what happens naturally? Oh, we fight each other. Oh, we hurt each other. And then we hurt each other of land that ain't even ours. When you talk about these issues of race, and you talk about these issues that have been buried for years, of where people have planted these seeds of separation and confusion, me and my trainer forever broke that. We said, what do we want to do with life? Remember this is how you build a foundation. You walk in the west side of Baltimore. Me and my trainer done it ourselves, so I give you our example. We both had earrings in. both sides, right? This when I was, this when we was younger, right? We wanted sporty, we wanted to be seen, right? We both was cursers, right? We just loved to curse and just have fun, whatever, whatever. And I'll never forget, we sat down one night after the weight room, 2001. And after that workout, I thought I saw Jesus. I really did. I thought Jesus was standing at the door because we worked so hard. And next thing you know, I looked at him. I said, "Bro, what you want to do?" He asked me. He said, "What do you want to do it like?" I said, I want to be the greatest to ever do it. But more importantly, I want to be the greatest man for God to ever walk this earth, bro. I want to be remembered like David. I want God to say about me one day, a man after my own heart. I looked at him. I said, "Bro, we got to take out our earrings." We took out our earrings. We took out our earrings and threw them to the side. Never put them back in. Ever. Stop cursing that day. The cursing started and we started it was money, right? We were just paying money to churches, right? And then I was paying $100, right? And so at the end of the week or the end of 2 weeks, I was giving like thousands of dollars away. And I was like, I don't feel that. That's why I say I don't want your money. Right? I don't feel money, right? We don't feel money. So people be, oh, I'm gonna give $1 million. I'm gonna give 500,000. Thank you. But I want you instead of your money. And that's what God was saying to me. God said, I want you. So then we started doing push-ups. So every time you curse, you had 100 push-ups. On demand. On demand. So no matter where you were,
anywhere,
you had to stop and do push-ups, right? And then it became real. Why? Because of the same reason that we're talking about, accountability.
Yeah.
Now you're accountable. And that's where I think from the infrastructure side, from how we start building the foundation and start building the layers on top of Baltimore, what happens is when you start to see green grass, like real green grass, like pretty green grass, like you don't want to mess up that.
Right.
You know, like in where I grew up at, when you can sit out there at a picnic and you don't have to worry about gunfire going off and these different things, we got to change the infrastructure. And now we have to give them an environment. It's just like your children. If you're going to put your children in a safe environment, you're not going to put them in harm's way. No, you're going to put them in an environment that you know what they see they can digest. And that's where I think we have to, on this commitment of ours with UMB, we have to take a hard look at every step of the way, not missing the steps that for years we've missed. So I think the combination of UMB resources and all the things that you guys already do, combined with no excuses, is what makes this really attractive. You know, if I can give you one of my words, Bruce, in the Black culture, we say sexy. It's really sexy.
I know that word. And it sounds like to me we need the police in our no excuses just the same as everybody else.
Bruce, let's put it all on the table because it's open, right? We're not here. If we're never here I'm telling you, all cops ain't bad cops. Are you kidding me? When you dial 911, who you call? You call the cops, hopefully, to take care of you or get you out of a bad situation. So a lot of times we put everybody in the same box. You know, oh my gosh, these cops, they doing this, they doing that. No, there are people in every phase of life. You think about the anti-trafficking world, which I've been heavy in for the last 5 years. You think about how many young girls never make it back home. You want to talk about some real systemic issues of young girls sex trafficked. People say the Super Bowl is the greatest excitement ever. But every year, over 100,000 or more young girls are shipped to each city to do one thing: give their bodies away.
Yeah.
These are real issues. It's time because everything is open now. So let's point out real issues, and that's the difference of good versus evil. That's why the resources that we have, this is and I always stay away from, people say, oh man, God, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. I'm never careful with God. Never. Because I trust him with everything. This ain't about religion. This ain't about religion. This is about looking at people, treating them right, and understanding we have some real issues that's been around for hundreds of years that it's time to address. And I think this is the way we address them, Bruce. Like we, and that's what I told you. We partner with strategic people who are doing great things like UMB, and with all of my team and what we have on this board, and we put this together. And this is what, and I really think, I truly believe this, and I told you this, when we start this catches fire quickly, and this goes to the next city, and the next state, and the next state, and the next state. And then when you look around, right, you then find people like advocating for, oh, you can't do that in my neighborhood, right? Because that's what you're building, right? That's what you're building. And then you got to think about, like, I think one of the things that I told you for me that we have to really introduce is we have to find a real solution for our kids during this time, Bruce. Like, I understand as adults, I understand the rage we feel and the pain we feel, but our kids one day will look back and they will never forget 2020. The graduates that had to endure 2020 without graduations, without none of that, Bruce.
It's a deep scar on a lot of our graduates.
Bruce, that's a scar forever.
That's right.
That's a scar forever. So I think even as adults, I think even with this program, I think that's what I'm saying. It's the reconnection of the family, right? You watch online with the No Excuses Card program, right? And you know what you've seen? You know the DMs that I get, the direct messages I get the most? Me and my son worked out for the first time together. Me and my family's working out together. Me and my mom has been smoking cigarettes for 25 years, but she tried your workout one time and said she'll never go back to another pack of cigarettes.
That's love. That's what love does.
That's what love does. So my question, my answer to the nation is, we're going to start this, but my answer is, how do we replace all pain, all hurt, all anger, all confusion? And how do we replace it with love, hope, promise, connection, communication, integrity, character? Because those things are the reason me and you are having this conversation.
Yep. We have some people who want to ask you some questions online.
Sure.
Alex, do you have one or two?
Oh, we have plenty. Stephanie Seworth is asking about channeling the anger that we all feel in a constructive way. Stephanie, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, Ray. You have said, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, that people try to forget what pain feels like. How do we constructively hold on to all of this pain and sustain this so that we see real systemic change?
See, Stephanie, you know what? This is why that question is so good. So, and I'm gonna send you to something later, but it's two sides of pain, right? There's a physical side of pain that we feel, and then there's this thought of pain, right? And that is when you see someone else's pain or see what happened to George Floyd, and you know that's pain, you see that's pain. So now you have to take all of that, Stephanie, and this is what this program I'm telling with Bruce and everything you've done. You have to use that. A lot of people try to throw away pain. I started chasing pain. How do you chase it? So all of the things that really bother you, Stephanie, if I showed you, if I can just be quick because we're in a deep conversation, but if I went through this book, that I have right here, all of these things on this whole page right here is all of the things that pained me over the last 2 weeks. The things that really bothered me, the things that I really wanted to address. And Stephanie, you got to have the conversation with yourself. And then when you start to carry that, that's why no excuses. That's why no excuses tell you in pain. It's not only will I not forget you, I'm gonna carry you with me. And that's why every time somebody say, it don't matter how you deal with it. So I'm gonna give you one real example so you understand how tangibly you can use it when somebody offends you, right? This guy walks up to me and he says, hey man, you know, I don't like the comments you said, bro. Like, you know, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I said, how, brother? I said, you know, that kind of bothers me, man, that you feel that way. He was like, yeah, man, I just kind of want to let you know I don't mess with you, bro, because of that. I was like, but you never met me. So the pain that I caused you, you would rather keep it inside and not share it with me? I said, sit down. Just sit down for 10 minutes, brother. The man sat down for 10 minutes, and that pain that we addressed that day became an open dialogue of 45 people inside of a restaurant. 45 people because of the pain. And then this lady got up, and oh my gosh, it's the greatest story ever, Stephanie. This lady gets up and she's just like, I can't believe you guys are talking about this. I was just about to commit suicide 2 days ago, and this pain is driving me crazy. And I'm tired of my father is abusing me and raping me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where did all this come from? And she was okay with exposing her pain. So when I'm telling you, Steph, we got to write these things down, and you can't keep it. The greatest dysfunction of a man is a man will hold his greatest pains. It's one of the biggest faults we got. We'll hold our greatest pains, and then that way, Stephanie, to your point, we can't use it. You gotta use it, and that's why no excuses says. I use it in working out. So you know, you hear bodybuilders all the time, but they be in the gym, all this loud noise, Stephanie. You know, they want to make everybody hear them because they think the pain is whatever, right? But imagine being able to work out and taking that pain from to same workout, but it's the way I view it, right? And that's how I think you take this pain, and you got to ask yourself, how do I view it? I view it by writing it down. It took me a while before I even came out and spoke about any of this because I was angry. I was, man, I was so angry, still angry at what happened. And but now I found out how to use it. And how do I use it? I channel it. I teach people, like, let's talk about it. Me and my son had one of the deepest conversations ever. My goodness. Whew. And I had to hear him. I had to hear him all the way out. But then I said, son, now I need you to be a child, and I need you to hear me. Some pains you can't go around. Some pains you got to go through. This is one of the pains we got to go through. But Stephanie, when you go through it, if you write it down, if you make it simple, then it not only becomes a pain, it becomes a vision. A vision then becomes a mission. A mission then turns into your purpose, and your purpose ultimately leads you to your destiny. That's how you kind of, the layers of dealing with pain every time you feel it. Every time you feel it, because you're going to feel it from so many different perspectives in life, and you just got to have a way to deal with it as we go forward. That's a great question.
It's a great answer too, Ray, let me tell you. Alex, we got another one?
Yes, we have Maxine Phillips. Maxine, if you're there, are you ready with your question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Oh, I thought I was muted. I'm sorry. So
No, I unmuted you.
So, okay. So my question, Ray, and the other folks, Bruce, I'm a little bit concerned about.
This one.
I'm a little bit concerned about losing focus on, so I'm a businesswoman in Baltimore, and I feel a lot of frustration with this tension between the folks that work with me and for us and have for years, that come from all the communities in Baltimore, but at this time, a lot of them are the communities that are also suffering, and them talking about the police. And as Ray so eloquently said, it's certainly not all the police. I have no idea what the percentages are, but there's no doubt that we have police in Baltimore that are racist, and they're not equipped emotionally or maybe cognitively to be policing, because they can't protect the people they're supposed to. So what are some specific things we can do? When I say we, I like to consider myself a member of the school, as a recent graduate, but also as a concerned citizen, and just as a human. What can we do to affect some change in the area of policing specifically? Thanks.
You want to take that one, Bruce? Or you want me to take it?
Well, I think the first thing.
Huh? Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say the first thing we can do is to make sure on our own campus that our police are very oriented in the best manner, and I think we've done an excellent job at that. We are working with the police commissioner about issues about how we can get at better policing methods, but I don't have any results to tell you about right now. But there are several initiatives on that front. So Ray, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Yeah, I one of the things, honestly, and the issue is, as big as it's ever going to be, but one of the things about team building is, I think, open communication is everything in team building. Being in a locker room, being on a defense that was so dominant for so many years, I want you to think of it as a force, right? It's like we became better once the coaches didn't have to coach us, right? I think these cops, they have to start policing themselves. Like accountability is everything when it comes to taking care of them. So when I say, what can we do? What can you do? It's how your language is spoken to them. It's how you use it. It's really, I'm telling you, it's really how you use it. It's how it comes out. It's how someone feels, because they'll open up, but you have to be really sensitive inside of your heart so they can feel it, so that they can really feel it. And that's the thing. I'm telling you, I truly believe one of the answer to your question is we have to have more conversation. We cannot act as if we figured everything out. We cannot act as if everything is fixed and never going to be broken again, because that's not true. It's not true. There's issues going to come up for the rest of our life. We never thought we was going to be in a pandemic. We never thought we was going to be able to see something like this, where people would be in their house and nobody would have schools and no graduation would be. But we're here. And so now when you talk about these cops and all these different people, and that's why I say, even when I was growing up, like, we gotta have conversation again, right? And this ain't political, right? This ain't about political. That's why I hate getting into politics and any of that stuff, because, that's why I believe in this, I believe in this. We believe in one thing. How do we make our world a better place? How do you do that? If you go back to work, if I challenge you to do anything else, don't respond. Just ask the question to listen. Don't respond, because that's what happens. That's why fights are happening, right? Somebody says this, right? And then the next person hears it. Don't think about it. Just judge him immediately. Oh, I can't believe he said that. And then now we had another war. I think, once again, for this issue itself, you being in that type of work environment, it's all communication, but it's less talking and more listening, because you'll hear way more, man. In today's time, you will hear way more in today's time than you ever imagine if you pay attention. Yeah. Great question.
Let's keep going because we are going to go past the 3 o'clock time, but I know you're all anxious to talk to Ray. So let's get another question. Alex?
We have Teresa Newman. Teresa, are you there?
I am.
Go ahead, please.
I don't have much of a voice, but I'm going to give it a whirl.
Teresa, what's going on with your voice?
I think it's been teaching too much. So, I actually teach PA students, and my question has a lot to do with the pain and the anger. And so anger is often a substitute for hurt, pain, because it's a lot easier to get angry than to show pain. People fail to see each other's pain. They don't want to see each other's pain because it's too uncomfortable to deal with. And, trying to teach students to be able, as a medical provider, to be able to deal with people's pain, they're still uncomfortable with it. So how do we shift the pendulum? How do we do that?
Say that last part one more time. You said,
How do we shift the pendulum in order to, to make it so people don't have to escalate to that angry part, that people do start listening and can sit with others' pain.
I tell you, I know a lot of things. You can give a lot of different answers, but I'm gonna share some with Teresa that half of 2000 in particular, when we had this Super Bowl run and this defensive meeting, something happened, Teresa, of what you're talking about, right? There was a brother, being myself, that was going through the greatest pain and the greatest confusion you will ever find yourself going through. And they saw it, but they couldn't feel it. We got in a room, and I never forget this, and it became a every Wednesday thing. The coaches would have to leave the office, Teresa, and every guy in there would have to talk about some of their greatest fears and greatest pains. And I started it, right? Because I wanted to know. But you know what ended up happening? What ended up happening, Teresa, was when they started to really address these things, their football play changed immediately, similar to what happened to these kids. But see, sometimes we fear coaches, we fear teachers. We don't want teachers always in the room. We think y'all gonna use it against us. We think coaches gonna use it against us. However, whatever you come up with. But that year, and this is how I carried it the rest of the time, we found out how many people you work with, and this is everybody on the line, how many people you actually work with that you actually know their middle name. How many kids you actually know their middle name? How many kids have you actually found out about? It's kind of similar to what I do in my camps, right? I sit all of these kids down in my camps, and I ask these kids, you got a father? You got a mother? What's your living situation? All of these things. And every time they say this, every time they're like, Ray, Mr. Lewis, we've never been to a camp where somebody asks us how we're doing or what's the dynamic of our families and different things. And I'm telling you, like, Teresa, in your position, because you are a teacher, in your position, you have to create a platform where that's open communication, and you can really do it weekly because it's therapeutic. It's therapeutic to get out all of the things that you are fearful about and all of the pains that's really bothering you. I was scared my whole life, seriously, to tell people how poor I was. I used to be fearful. Oh my gosh, I used to wear the same pair of jeans for like almost 5 years. I used to be fearful to share with people. I didn't want nobody to know, so I stayed in my corner, right? But I kept all this stuff like in. And then once again, Miss Robinson being one of them, she forever changed my life because she made me start to open up and have these conversations. So Teresa, what I would say is, I would say in your class, I think you should really create a platform to where these kids have to open up about their fears and their pains. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Ray.
Yeah.
Alex, maybe one more, and then we'll make our announcement and close things. So let's do another one.
All right, here's Magali Rodriguez de Bittner. Magali, are you there?
I'm here to. Hi, Ray. I love you. I have to say that.
I love you too, Magali.
It's between you and you. Anyway, so my question is, I always struggle with this. We live in the, richest country in the world, all right? And how is it that we can, what you said about the green grass and the neighborhoods, that's something that pains me because you're absolutely right. You walk in these neighborhoods in Baltimore and it literally looks like a war zone. Why can't we mobilize contractors to fix those houses, give kids the skills to do that while they're learning, and really create environments in where you can do the things that we want to do?
You know what, Magali, that's the one. I'm not gonna answer it. I'm gonna agree with you. Like, that's the one thing that bothers me. And when I was playing, even when I was playing, every plane I got off, I used to always go to the brokenness of neighborhoods. And I used to always walk through those neighborhoods. And I used to always say, all of these billionaires, all of these people with all this money, and you mean to tell me kids can't have green grass to run in? What about parks? Park swings tore downs and the basketball goals tore downs, all of it. And so once again, I think this is when I say this is a time, Magali, that we have to put everything on the table. And that goes back to your point of the infrastructure. That's Bruce, that's that base we're talking about. If you clean up those neighborhoods, people will see life differently. They will act differently when they walk past clean neighborhoods, when they walk past what you describe, not war zones, because that's what it looks like right now, right? And that's why the game world is such at war, because that's all they see. Houses broken down and windows out and all these different things. And I'm saying, for us to live in the richest country, I mean, I get it. They talking about Jeff Bezos is about to see $1 trillion, but we got people on the streets that's homeless. I don't want to see $1 trillion if I got homeless people. I don't even want to see $1 billion. That's why no excuses, Magali. The mission is simple. How do we affect, redirect, or change 1 billion lives in the underserved communities? That's our goal. That's our mission. That's our vision. That's our passion. And that's my destiny, to make sure that before we leave here, that these neighborhoods look like they're supposed to be lived in and not for animals. Yeah, great question.
I don't think we want to stop this conversation, Ray. Although I don't want to make you late for your next appointment either, because I know you're probably like the rest of us. So on June the 22nd, we're going to try to host our first No Excuses platform. So we'll be joining Ray. We're going to call these Motivational Mondays. And you're going to introduce us to No Excuses. And we're going to get the Baltimore thing started moving. The plan and the hope is to get it started within the UMB community and then move it out into the West Baltimore community, all those young men and women. And I'm going to add in a whole lot of police as well, because I think they need to be exercising together, as you say. So that's going to be our pilot thing. And I'm really looking forward to that. You got any comments about what we're planning here?
No, the comments I got is, I'm just going to tell everybody that's joining this, get ready.
Get ready is right.
Yeah, buckle up. I'm just really excited to partner with UMB. I think what we're doing, Bruce, I think it's going to be it's a sound that our nation needs to hear, and that is, we're better together. You know, we are better together, and that's the new direction, and that's the new wave that we got ahead. And I'm excited for June 22nd. I'm excited for you. There's some stuff that you don't know about that we're gonna do. That is just so
I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
Yeah, because look, everybody's listening. Listen, Bruce is not getting out of this. No, it's physical. It has everything.
Well, I won't put you to shame. I might put me to shame, but we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a spectacular sounding program, and it's something we all should have done a long time ago. But much more important than our own health, I think, again, looking to the community, as this is a way to help them move up in this world. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a positive way, to take pride in that green grass, take pride in the nice looking environment they're in. That ought to be the objective here. I think that is certainly one of my objectives. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you.
So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
I'm sure we'll do this again, I have a feeling. And I'll have my gym clothes on. That is, of course, if I can find them. I have to look for them.
Oh, if you can.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Ray, and thank you all who joined us. There will be much more to follow with this. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
Thank everybody for joining. Thank everybody for joining. We're better together.
Yes.